pardon. Whenever we played hide and seek, he always won. That was Kira Naoki's specialty. "You'll never find me," he would say as he hid. And for sure, no matter how much we looked, we'd never find him. Then, when we gave up, he would appear seemingly out of nowhere with a grin. That smug face was always so annoying. That was why we, his classmates, would invite him daily to play, swearing we would definitely find him this time. But regardless of whether we played at school or the park, we had no idea where Naoki was. Where on earth was he hiding? Alright, today's the day we'll definitely find him. I don't remember how many times we'd played that day, but it was finally my turn to find everyone. "Are you ready?" I yelled. "Okay," everyone replied. I got to work right away. Yamada was behind the slide. Uchida was hiding in the large tree in the middle of the park. Takenaka was lying under the bench. It didn't matter which difficult spot they chose. I found them all. Except for Naoki, that is. Where on earth was he hiding? I entered the forest behind the park. Nobody was there. I thought he might be there, but apparently not. So I decided to look somewhere else. But then I heard a giggle, so I stopped. That was Naoki's voice. So he was hiding here, I thought, and, pretending to leave, I hid in the shade of a tree. Then, one of the trees in the forest started to shake side to side. And then, that tree started to take the shape of a person. Finally, it changed from brown to a more human color. It was Naoki. There was no way that could mean... I stepped out from behind the tree and yelled at him. You changed into a tree! Wah! You found me! His face went pale and he held his head in his hands. I grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and dragged him back to the others. "Oh, you finally found Naoki! Where was he hiding?" But I didn't tell them what I saw. After everyone left, I stayed behind at the park with Naoki, just the two of us. Tell me, right now, what on earth was that before? People can't just transform into trees. Alright, if you won't tell me, then I'll just tell everyone what I saw. Alright, fine. They call it mimicry. Mimicry? Naoki started to explain. In nature, there were animals and bugs that could change their shape into that of trees, stones, or their enemies to protect themselves. And they called this disposition mimicry. Naoki's father and grandfather were biologists, and they had succeeded in extracting the exact thing that allowed this to happen from a bug that could take on the form of rocks. Then they worked on and improved it so humans could use it. His father secretly went over to his room and used it on him. "Hey, please don't tell anyone, okay?" Naoki begged me. "Okay, but only if you give me a little of that drug. If you don't, then I'll tell everyone. I threatened him, and Naoki took a small bottle out of his pocket and then gave it to me, saying, "Guess I don't have a choice." So, how do you use this then? You drink the blue liquid, and then you think about what you want to turn into. But it has to be something solid, like metal, or trees, or concrete. You need to mutter, "Harden, harden," soon after you take it. Then you really will harden into that same shape. Harden, huh? Then you have to mutter, "Revert, revert," and all the power will drain from your muscles and you'll change back. Alright, I get it. Let's do this then. I drank a little of the liquid from the bottle. Then I imagined the slide in the park. Harden, harden. Bit by bit, my body began to change. I slowly grew to the size of a slide. Then I changed color and transformed perfectly into a slide. Seemed it was okay to turn into something larger. "This is so cool!" I screamed happily as a slide. "Nobody would be able to find me like this." After that, nobody could beat me at hide and seek. When I played with my classmates at school, I turned into the statue of Ninomiya Kinjiro, and at the park, I turned into some swings. I was getting better and better at it, and so I poked fun at the others. And when they saw me acting like that, they got annoyed. Then one day, one of my friends issued a challenge. "I'll find you, 100%. If I don't, then I'll give you all the trading cards that I love." But in return, if he found me, then I had to give him all of my cards. Sure, let's do this thing then. And so we bet our most precious items and started a game of hide and seek. The location of the game was to be the factory area near our school. Of course, I wasn't worried in the slightest. With the liquid I got from Naoki, all I had to do was mimic something and they'd never find me. We got together on the weekend and went over there together. My classmates would come in 1-minute intervals and try to find me. Being the weekend, there were, of course, no people working there. There was lots of wood and concrete lying around everywhere. I took the liquid out and drank it. Then I imagined the large stack of concrete in front of me. It was pretty large, at over 10 meters. If I turned into something that large, I figured nobody would be able to find me. Harden, harden. And my body amazingly turned into a giant stack of concrete. Before long, my classmates started looking for me. Of course, there was no way they'd find me. As a giant stack of concrete, I chuckled to myself. However, then a loud voice echoed nearby. "Hey you! No playing in here!" There were several workers. They were working even on the weekend, but they were just on a break. After they chased my classmates away, they got back to work. They wrapped some wires around my concrete body and then moved me with a crane. Then, after putting me on the foundation, they piled another stack of concrete on top of me. Oh no. If I turned back to normal, it would crush me. I couldn't move. Three years passed. That entire time, I remained concrete and couldn't move. If I transformed back into a person, the concrete above would crush me. No, that wasn't even all. If I disappeared, then the building above me would collapse. And that building above me only just recently finished, and it was now the largest tower in all of Japan. It's a famous tower that even you should know. Every day, people come from all over to see and climb it. If the tower collapsed, no doubt everyone would die. That's why I can't let my guard down, and why I have to keep chanting. Harden, harden.